On this channel, I'll probably just be covering some albums that you might or might not have heard of. Some of my favorites, some of my least favorites. It's just reviewing whatever I get my hands on, essentially. So yeah, what's the best way to start off your channel? I think I figured it out. A nice helping of the Fab Four. The Beatles, Revolver. The Beatles had been playing live for many years. Many years, I mean only 2 years, but those 2 years felt like an eternity for them, since they had been playing constantly around the UK and US. So they figured they needed a well-deserved break, so they took 3 months off to help get them ready for the new album. Around this time, they also experimented with LSD, which they actually got a hold of in '65, that spring, but they'd really started to get into it back in '66. We helped create the more experimental tracks, like Tomorrow Never Knows, Love You Too, She Said, She Said. Now, after a while, they thought 3 months isn't enough, so they decided to stop touring altogether. They played their last ninth show in California, and their last show altogether in 1969 on the Apple roof. Side 1 starts with Taxman, which was a pretty hard-hitting song written and sung by George Harrison. It's actually the first of their songs not to be written about love. Rather, is a critique of the super tax system that was employed in 1966 by the UK government, where they lived, and still live at the time, actually. Now, a lot of people think that George Harrison played the solo through a fuzz face, which admittedly he did use later on, but actually at this time he actually used the Vox UL34 amplifier, also known as the Conqueror, so you can get that top boost chime. It brings some overdrive into it, because admittedly the Vox AZ30 you can't get a lot of overdrive unless you're boosting it with a sort of pedal like a micro amp. Now, the second song is Eleanor Rigby. Now, Eleanor Rigby is beautiful. It's the only song actually not to be played by any of the band. Rather, it was actually played by a small orchestra orchestrated by Brian Epstein, of all people. Now, in case you're wondering where actually got its name, the song actually got it from a bit unique place. As the story goes, Paul McCartney was thinking about Eleanor. He thought it was a nice, very Victorian style name, but he just didn't know a good last name. So eventually, in a small part of Liverpool, he found himself at a small pub named Rigby, which he eventually got the name from. What he didn't know is that actually he returned again a few years later, like about 2 decades, and he found a grave marked Eleanor Rigby that had been planted in 1957. So it would actually have been highly probable that he got the name from that, but just repressed it in his mind. We don't know entirely, but what we do know is that it's an amazing song, one of the best to be written by the two-man duo of Lennon and McCartney. The first song is personally one of my favorites, I'm Only Sleeping. I'm Only Sleeping is kind of a lullaby to people who want to sleep more, essentially. This is another one of the songs that weren't written about love, rather just around trying to sleep more. I would call it a comedy song in a way, but it takes what it does to heights that are also replicated with Taxman, and so it's more of it's not a critique in a way Taxman is, more of just kind of like a begging to sleep more. The fourth song, Love You Too. Now, I personally really like Love You Too. It's one of the most psychedelic songs on the entire album, and it was actually written by George Harrison, who had actually learned to play the sitar, but he had not actually incorporated it into the song. Rather, it was actually a tabla played by Anil Bhagwat, and it was also sung by George Harrison, respectively. Now, I really like the song as well, mainly due to the fact that I just love raga songs like this, like like Norwegian wood in a way. You could call that a raga song with its incorporation of a sitar played by George Harrison as well, but Rubber Soul is for a different video, so let's get back onto the track. Here, There, and Everywhere. I would continually argue to everyone I meet that Here, There, and Everywhere is the best love song ever written by the Beatles. And that's a hard spot to take because they had written a lot of them before this came out. But this is pretty arguably their best. This one's their most sincere. It was also sung by Paul McCartney, giving it that crooning voice that he's known for. Now there was also no instruments played on this track. And as I told you, it's sung by Paul McCartney, but written by both Lennon and McCartney, which was the same songwriting duo that wrote a lot of other love songs. And this is arguably my favorite of their love songs, and probably their best. And I'm not saying that just because I really like the album, I'm saying that as a whole. Next, Yellow Submarine. Everyone's heard this song at one point or another. So it was actually sung by Ringo Starr, which is actually the only song in the entire album to be sung by it. And what I really love is actually that the song was actually partially written by Donovan, who you might know for some other song, for another 60s songs like Hurdy Gurdy Man. And I really like Donovan as well. He was actually the guy that, as I told you, he was actually the guy that penned the Sea of Green line, like the Sky of Blue, because as legend says that Paul McCartney was actually sitting on a table with him, and he showed him the lyrics, and he asked for something to go with Sea of Blue, so he said a Sea of Green, and that just fell into place. Now lastly on side A, there was She Said, She Said. This is probably one of the most psychedelic songs, along with Love You Too and Get Tomorrow Out of Her Nose, and also one of the best. It was written by John Lennon and Paul McCartney, sung by John Lennon, and I cannot tell you how much I love this song. I actually learned to play it on guitar, and it's pretty fun for what it does right. I don't mean what it does right. I mean it does everything right. The songwriting was partially helped by a Peter Hayes, who was actually of the Peter and Gordon group. He told the story of when he shot himself in the stomach by accident when he was 10, and he kind of made it into a song, and You're Making Me Feel Like I've Never Been Born was actually penned by George Harrison, who overheard their conversation and went out with a beer and told him and penned that iconic line in the song. Now I go on to side 2, which is just as good as side 1, maybe even better. I don't know. It starts with Good Day Sunshine. It's a very nice song. It was written as a response to the 11 Spoonfuls, which were touring America at the time, because they'd actually been highly influenced by Loving Spoonfuls, along with actually Loving Spoonfuls being influenced by the Beatles. Now, it was written by Lennon McCartney and sung by Paul McCartney, and it's just an overall good song, very happy, feels like a warm summer day, and yeah. Now for the 9th song, we have And Your Bird Can Sing. I really like And Your Bird Can Sing. It was actually written by Lennon and McCartney, sung by John Lennon. It's actually a critique of John Lennon, because he thought about all the lies that Paul had told him as a kid. He was kind of returning the favor. The famous line, And Your Bird Is Broke, was actually meant to say, And Your Bike Is Broken, but he actually misspoke it, but he thought it was funny, so he left it in. His sense of humor never ceases to amaze anyone. Or everyone. For No One. Number 3. I love For No One with a burning passion, and I'm saying that truly. It was sung by Paul McCartney, written by Lennon and McCartney, and it's more a love song, more of a hopeful song, because instead the main character not falling in love, rather is breaking apart from love and hoping to find some more love, helping to juice out the left of it in the girl. Now, as I told you, the song, the only instruments played were piano by Paul McCartney and horn by Alan Clavel. Sung by Paul McCartney, written by Lennon and McCartney, it's my favorite song. Argue with it or not, it'll still be mine. Dr. Robert. Dr. Robert was written by Lennon and McCartney, again, sung by John Lennon, and it was actually about a doctor who they went to in New York when you were touring there to get their fix of LSD. His name was actually Dr. Robert. Robert, I don't remember the last name, but it's not really important. It is though important to the song, bringing those famous lines. Come on in and talk to Dr. Robert. Yeah, he was actually found humming this. He actually got the tune. Paul McCartney actually got this idea of the tune from him humming it one time when he was trying to get his fix, and he had lost it. So that's what rumors say. It was most likely written by the group, but Paul McCartney just thought it was funny. I want to tell you, this is the last song written by Harrison on the entire album and sung by George Harrison. Now, this one's also a love song, but not in the way of the other ones were. This one's more of an unrequited love song, but I'm telling him his feelings, essentially. I really like this one just as much as the other ones, and I have nothing else to say for it. It's just that good. But I want to tell you this. I'll listen to it, and you'll think it's one of their best as well. Got to Get You Into My Life, Lennon and McCartney, sung by Paul McCartney. This one's more of an R&B track, to be honest with you. All the horns are actually all the horns were actually most likely played by Ringo Starr, as sources say. I might be wrong on this, but this is what I've got from it. Written by Lennon and McCartney, sung by Paul McCartney. I've already said that. Trust that. And yeah, you kind of get the gist of it. Toronto Never Knows. This is actually the longest song on the album, clocking in at 3 minutes, besides the other one's already with 2. And this is a good song. And I want to say good, I mean, it was probably the way you could tell they were on LSD, because they had to be high to write this. And I'm not saying it because it's bad, it's really good. But it's so experimental that you can't think that it came from somewhere of pure imagination. For my final thoughts, I'll just tell you this. This album, Revolver, is deserving to be in every music collector's favorites list. No matter if you like the Beatles, you love the Beatles, you don't like the Beatles, never heard of the Beatles, probably not. Everyone deserves to have this album. It's just that good. The good thing is that you can find them for pretty cheap, since they got very more popular nowadays. I bought this stereo pressing for $20 for a Black Friday sale. And what I mean for Black Friday, I mean that, yeah, a regular copy would cost $25, but still. And also, I highly request that if you're gonna get it, I'm not saying which pressing you should get, because both are really good in my opinion, but get the UK pressing with the Parlophone label. It doesn't matter if it says made in Germany, as long as it has the Parlophone label, it's good, since the UK label, Capital, actually took off 3 songs, Dr. Robert, and Your Bird Can Sing, and my favorite, I'm Only Sleeping. So if you're gonna get an old copy, look for the Parlophone label. If you're gonna get a new one, though, essentially all of them nowadays have all 14 songs. So if you're gonna buy a new one, it's fine. Thanks for watching the video, and goodbye.